We're the Nighthawks, music of the 1920s and 30s, and my name is Vince Giordano, your band leader for this segment. Thank you. That tune we played was a rare tune from 1931 called Temporarily Blue, written by the great Sammy Fain, that we lifted off an old Jimmy Greer broadcast disc, and we had some nice solos there by John Eric Kelso on the hot trumpet. Yes, and Andy Stein on the hot fiddle. Yeah, and I think you heard a little hot innuendos there by Sam Chess on the trombone. Right. And before that, we opened up with a theme that was used for Universal Motion Picture Company back in the 30s. They got Jimmy McHugh to write their theme song, and it's a very dramatic little piece of music. Got everyone's attention. It also gets the guys' attention that we're starting tonight. And but you have to have a timpani. You have to have and so many drummers I called up and down through the union book, everything. Couldn't find one. We finally got a great guy and a great timpanist, and that's Paul Wells back there at the timpani. Yeah, dramatic. All right. Well, here we are at Birdland on West 44th Street, where we do our Mondays and Tuesdays. We have a nice crowd here, and we also have a nice crowd on the internet. It's called the live stream. Is that right? Live stream. There you go. And you can see us wherever you can if you got, you know, a battery in your computer and some wave band, whatever I'm trying to say. Anyway, it's called. Yes, South Park. No, it's what? What was he talking about now? Oh man, cut me off. No more drinks for the band leader. There you go. And it's called Radio Free Birdland. Radio Free Birdland. If you just type that in, there you go. We're going to go to Kansas City right now and play a song that was written by the great Benny Moten and Count Basie, arranged by Eddie Durham, and the wonderful band in Kansas City that I enjoy most in this period is the Benny Moten Band, and it's called Small Black, and here it is. 1, 2, 1, 2. We used to play in this band many years ago, and we had a wonderful a bunch of fellows playing in that band, and one of them was Count Basie. That's one of his early gigs, and he got stranded in Kansas City, and good thing he joined this band. But Count could not make it tonight, so yeah. So we sent in Brian Reeder. Brian Reeder played that wonderful piano solo. Yeah, nice. And then we had some hot trumpet solo from John Kelso. Yeah. And it was nice to get a nice banjo, little half a solo there by Devin Cortan. There you go. Devin, nice, wow. And finally, the guy playing all the tricky alto sax work is Will Anderson. Will Anderson, yeah. And as you know, if people tune in or people come to see us, I like to share the bandstand with these guys, and not only with instruments, but also what they have to say. They do some interesting things when they're not working with this band. They create a lot of gigs and on their own, concerts, and also things that they might sell, yeah. And I call it the Nighthawk Home Shopping Network. So the first guy to get up there and give them what they got is Will Anderson.
Thank you very much, Uncle Vince. I did want to mention that I will be appearing upstairs here at Birdland the next 2 Saturdays, this coming Saturday with trumpet player Mike Davis, and the following Saturday with Joe Boga on the trumpet. So check that out the next 2 Saturdays at 5:30 upstairs. Also, I wanted to mention that I'm selling a piece of merchandise tonight. Now, it's quite archaic. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but I wrote a book. It's called Songbook Summit, 15 Pioneers of American Sound, and it chronicles the life stories of many of America's great composers and musicians, including Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, the Dorsey Brothers, Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, Frank Sinatra, Jerome Kern, Irving Berlin, Cole Porter, George Gershwin, Hoagie Carmichael, Richard Rodgers, Harold Arlen, Jimmy Van Heusen, and Henry Mancini. Check that out. It's available at the cart. Thank you.
All right, that's Will. Will Anderson, man. He could be an auctioneer, too, with getting that delivery. Sold America. Sold Will Anderson. We're going to go back to 1925 right now and visit the Fletcher Henderson Band. Here in New York City, it was one of the great dance bands, jazz bands, because he had so many great jazz musicians in that band, the Henderson Band that was. And Louis Armstrong played in there for a couple of years. Coleman Hawkins was there for nearly a decade, and Don Redman was there and arranging and playing all the reed instruments. And here's a funky little tune which we like to play from now and then. It's called the What You Call 'Em Blues. What you call 'em? 1, 2, 1, 2. Fletcher Henderson's What You Call 'Em Blues, 1925. Holy moly, that was 100 years ago. That's pretty amazing, right? Okay, well, I'm glad we're still playing it. And I'm glad that there's musicians here that are willing to play it. I'm glad there's an audience here that's willing to listen. So we had a little Sam Chess there on the trombone, beautiful solo there. John Kelso on the hot trumpet, too. All right. Well, another big another big name that you know from later years is Duke Ellington. Of course, he had his band for a very long time, but he started out in the 20s. And here's a song that was written about 1929 or 30, and it's another Herb Gardner transcription. It's called Rockin' in Rhythm. Rockin' in Rhythm. Get the saxophones getting a little solo on this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Duke Ellington, nice work on the saxophones, and Will Anderson there on the clarinet. And you know, the Ellington band had a great trombonist, a fellow by the name of Tricky Sam Nanton. And we have our own Sam, so sometimes we call him Tricky Sam Chess. Tricky Sam Chess. It works. All right, there you go. Now, let's see here. Is the hot one? All right. Let's do something that goes back a little further. We will talk a little bit later about this wonderful jazz artist, a guy named Joe Oliver. He's also known as King Oliver. And he's pretty influential in the early years of jazz, making recordings and rounding up all these wonderful New Orleans musicians to play his compositions and later on other people's compositions. One of his most famous people that he brought from New Orleans up to Chicago was a guy named Louis Armstrong. We'll talk about that a little later. And this is a song from 1926 written by a guy named Fred Rose. Fred Rose was a red-hot pianist and singer around Chicago, and at that time was writing some neat things, and he later left the Chicago area and he moved to Memphis, there you go. Nashville, right. Just like I said. What? Anyway, it became a big music publishing company there. Anyway, this is called Deep Henderson, and this was recorded by not only the King Oliver Band, but also the Coon Sanders Band. And let me just write that down here. Give it an extra something for your comments. I appreciate that. All right, Deep Henderson. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Henderson by Fred Rose. Oh yeah, we had a nice solo there on the trumpet by Joe Boga. Joe Boga. All right. Say, Joe, you don't have any CDs or books for sale, but I understand you're going to play a big trad jazz festival in England. Could you tell the folks about that? Maybe we have some viewers out there that are going to England.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, it's my first time to the UK. I'll be going to Whitley Bay, England, which is outside of Newcastle, to perform at the Whitley Bay Jazz Festival. And it's a whole week of 1920s, 30s, early 40s music, much like what you're hearing tonight, but with different musicians from kind of all around the world. If you happen to be there, please come check us out. It's at the end of October, beginning of November. So, yeah,
There you go,
I'm looking
Joe.
forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Good. Gee, if you need anybody to help out, I can help you with your luggage. I'd love to be there. I wasn't hired, but I'll go as just an assistant. All right. I'm great. I'm a great assistant. You might have heard some strange, wonderful sounds coming from our reed section, and it's true. The reeds played 3 soprano saxophones, and you never get to hear that sound anymore. In the old days, you'd hear Sidney Bechet and people like that, but now three horns at the same no. And we always like to tell the story about when we first started this band at the Red Blazer back in the 70s, the late 70s that is. A guy used to show up with a soprano saxophone and sit in with us, and it was great. I had no idea who this guy was. Turns out it was Kenny G. Yeah, but he doesn't come to see us anymore. No, he's too big and popular, and I'm happy for him because, you know, it was great. So anyway, we keep the legacy alive. I've nicknamed these three saxophones Kenny X, Y, and Z. There you go. So that keeps it, you know, relevant. Maybe he'll come back and I'll make up a little place card, say G, but I don't think so. Okay. All right, it's time to go into the 30s. Speaking of the 30s and stuff, now I'm going to give you guys a decision here, a little vote. We got either Blue Miner or Hocus Pocus. So which one you want to play? Blue Miner? Okay, Blue Miner it is. All right. I'm for whatever, you know. I mean, I want to keep these guys happy, which is impossible. This was played by the great Chick Webb Band in 1934. They made a nice deco recording of it. Chick Webb was one of the great early hot jazz and swing drummers, and he was swinging the music in the swing era as early as the early 1930s. And unfortunately, Chick was a very frail man and left us really early. But one of his most important discoveries, which is a long story I won't tell you, is that he discovered Ella Fitzgerald. And without Chick Webb, who knows if Ella would have, you know, really made it on the scene, because he said yes to having her join the band, and later she took over his band. Anyway, it's called Blue Miner. It was composed and arranged by Edgar Sampson, and here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Henderson. Yeah, Brian Reader. Kelso. guys playing that. Mention all names. We had a little Joe Boga at the end there, a little bit. You get credit because it happened so fast, you know. It was like the intersection with the snail and the. No, we're not going to get into that joke. But anyway, and that was Dan Levinson there on the clarinet. Yeah, Dan. Dan, I think it'd be good if you grab the microphone and join the Nighthawk Home Shopping Network, because I think you might have a few things to talk about.
Well, yeah, Vince and John and I did a couple of albums that have been issued on this strange medium that it's very large and very expensive, but we love them because it's vinyl, right? And we did this album as a tribute to Fred Teschmacher and the Austin High Gang. We did it way back in 1992. It's been issued on the Rivermont label. For those of you watching at home, you can go to rivermontrecords.com. Produced by a legendary producer named George Avakian, and music direction by Dick Hyman, still with us at 98 years old. It's also for sale back there at the Tart. We also, John, Vince, and I did a tribute to the great Bix Beiderbecke in 2003 for his centennial. It's been reissued on the Turtle Bay label. I believe it's turtlebayrecords.com. You can go to their website and order it on CD or vinyl. And if you're here in the room, also back there on the Tart. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Levinson. Wow. He does pretty good in this Home Shopping Network or something. I timed it. It was very good. You didn't break any FCC laws there. All right, time for a. You're double parked, right? I know. I'm double parked. Here's a wonderful song written by Fats Waller. This is 177X guys in the hymnal, and Fats Waller was one of the great entertainers of the 20th century. Even though he only lasted 39 years, he really burned the candle on all ends and wrote things like Honeysuckle Rose and Crazy About My Baby, Blue Turning Gray Over You, Black and Blue, and there's one called Ain't Misbehavin'. Originally it was introduced by Louis Armstrong, but we don't have that arrangement. We have this arrangement that I got from one of the crazy comedy bands of the 1930s, a guy named Frank and Milt Britton. They were before Spike Jones. I got to meet Mr. Britton out in Long Island, and he says, just take these arrangements out of here. And sometimes after you hear this, you'll say, well, you know, Vince, cheap is expensive. But anyway, they had a crazy band with seltzer bottles and breaking violins over the guys' heads. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to do Ain't Misbehavin' by Fats Waller. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Saving my love for you. I know for certain the one I love, through it flirting, just you I'm thinking of. And and misbehaving, saving my love for you. Like Jackie Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for, believe me. I don't go out late, don't care to go. I'm home about it, just me and my radio. And misbehaving, saving my love for you. Swallers ain't misbehaving. Wow, we had some real mysterioso clarinets there doing da 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 dee 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 dee. I wonder where he got that. He must have smashed the violin over the guy's head. Sam Chess there on the nice trombone. And yeah, and it was great to have Paul Wells finally play his chimes there. Play a little of those chimes for the folks. Oh, it's nice, sir, it's nice. I don't have to go to religious services. I just come here, and he beats on the chimes. There, nice. Okay, that's enough. No, he likes playing those things, and why not? Why not? We have a lot of fun things to play. Well, Fats Waller, really left a great impact on the music world, and he, not only as a composer, but player, entertainer. He's a wonderful singer, and he was very much mourned by a lot of people, one of them being Louis Armstrong. And it took Louis a long time. They were good friends and buddies. Louis introduced so many of his songs. In fact, he introduced that song, which I mentioned. So we're going to play a Louis Armstrong song for you right now. It's really written by his teacher, Joe Oliver, who we talked about in the beginning part of the class. Do you remember class? Okay, sorry. We're going to have a little quiz at the end of this and see what happens. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Joe Oliver from New Orleans got Louis to join him up in Chicago and changed Louis's life. It got him out there in the world, and so many people found out about him. Eventually, Louis broke away. But he learned a lot from Papa Joe, as he called him, and when Louis got a chance to get in the studio, he did one of his Papa Joe's great tunes called the West End Blues. You could read about it on the internet. It's a wonderful piece of music that I think it's the most written about piece of early jazz literature that I've run across. Now, speaking of Louis Armstrong, I know you made a great decision coming to Birdland here. It's a great, world's greatest jazz nightclub, but you also want to check out the Louis Armstrong House Museum in Queens, a living museum to a jazz legend in the heart of Queens. You just take the number 7 train over there, and you're there at the Louis Armstrong House. It's a great thing, and both our trumpet players have played on Louis Armstrong's great golden horn. I think they picked up a little DNA there too. So anyway, here it is. Here's the West End Blues, and here is John Kelso to tell you all about it. Yeah, Sanchez. Ba-bo-da-da. Ba-ba-de-do. Sa-su-sa-ru. Ra-da-da-do-ri-do-ri. Wa-da. Oh-oh. Ba-ba-bo-da-ba. Ba-da-da-da. Da-da-da-do-do. Sa-su-su-do-do. How about those clarinets? That's Brian Reeder on the piano. Yeah, man! John Kelso there. And that great little solo. Hey, John, why don't you grab the mic? And it's a good time for you to get on the Nighthawk Home Shopping Network.
Sure, why not? Okay. So in addition to playing here on Mondays and Tuesdays regularly, I have a Sunday gig that I've been doing for 18 years now at a great place called the Ear Inn, and it's a great old bar down on Spring Street on the far west side. We play Sunday nights there, as I said, and we call the band, naturally, the Irregulars. And we're delighted to say we finally have a Live at the Ear Inn CD, and it just happens to be available in the back over there and on Arbor's Records for those of you watching on YouTube. So check it out if you can. Thank you.
All right, John Kelso. Yowza. All right, that was a great solo there by Sam Chess on the trombone. Yeah, man, beautiful. And who else we had? Oh, I don't know if you noticed, our clarinets picked up something there. And they weren't soprano saxophones this time. They were megaphones. And they weren't on the original date. There was only one clarinet player, but we decided to, give a little showbiz here. In case a Hollywood producer or director comes in. We're in between films at this moment, and probably will remain so. But there you go. That was it, the megaphones. And then we had that great piano solo. Originally, pardon me, having trouble with my voice here, but originally done by the great Earl Father Hines, and he was a brilliant pianist that got a chance to work with Louis much later in his life too. But again, he couldn't make it either. So Brian Reeder played that beautiful solo. Yeah. Anyway, behind the scenes. And then you heard some crazy percussion things happening, and why not? Because on that great date, there was something called the Baccarat cymbal. Zooey Singleton brought his Baccarat box cymbals. And they show up on some more of those Louis Armstrong dates. And also Sonny Greer had a set of them too with the Ellington Band. And for years I wondered, what is making that sound? Because none of the contemporary cymbals had anything that sounded like this. So right now, you're going to get a full-fledged solo on the Baccarat box cymbals. All right, that's it. There you go. That's Paul Wells. He claims that's the easiest thing for him to bring with him, you know, because the other stuff is really heavy. That is not. We recorded that West End Blues, and it's on this item here. It's a record. It's not a long play record, because long play records are normally at 33, and then sometimes you can find records this size at 45. They call them extended play. At least they used to. I don't know if anybody's making extended play. But to make our situation even crazier, this was recorded at 78 RPM. What? I knew you'd say that. So I just want to warn you that if you buy this album, which I hope you do, and it's actually, we have 2 volumes out on the River Mount label, that you have a turntable that has 3 speeds, 33, 45, and the most elusive, 78, because if you don't, you're going to put the record on, it's going to sound like this, very slow. Not good at all. No. I think, okay, that's enough. I think that's the most favorite thing these guys like to do, is to make these noises. There you go. And I don't blame them. It's fun to make noises. It reminds me of New Year's Eve. Don't ask us to do New Year's Eve. The guys will have all kinds of sounds for that. Well, you know, we get requests, and the thing with the Nighthawks is we take requests, but we don't play them. Well, anyway, we kind of stagger our requests. So this one, I think, came in last, what was it, December? Maybe November. So we wanted to wait. And it's a wonderful tune that was recorded in Kansas City in 1929 with a lot of members that later wound up in the Count Basie band. Hot Lips Page was on trumpet on this, Dan Miner on trombone, and the leader of the band was a guy named Walter Page, a wonderful bass player who was one of the great bass players from Kansas City. And Count Basie was on the piano. And here it is. Here's some brass parts. Let's get the saxophone parts out. Here we go. Good. Oh, that's great. Now let's see here. That's amazing. And we gotta get some of the rhythm section on the other side. Are you guys ready on the West Coast? Very good, man. I'm lucky tonight. The paper is on my side. Okay, so here it is. It's called Squabbling. Squabbling. Walter Page's Blue Devils, 1929. Good luck, everybody. And make sure you have the right parts. You got the right parts? Okay, because it sounds better with the right parts. 1, 2, 1, 2. something extra in your paycheck tonight. Another Nighthawk LP record. That's what it is. What, again? There you go. Take that away. Put that back. We'll play that again soon. Should we put that one in the book? What do you think? I think so too. Squabbling. Squabbling. I like that term. A lot of people squabble with me. That's all right. Hey, it's time to put the charts away and play some old-time traditional jazz. And here's John Kelson with something up his sleeve.
How about You're Nobody's Sweetheart Now?
Nobody's Sweetheart Now. That's a good one. In the people's key of F?
Sure.
Okay, I mention it because in case anybody out there, on the live stream wants to jam with us, they can get out their banjo or their C melody sax and play along with us, and then they could put it in their resume that they played with the Nighthawks. Think about it. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's Andy Stein. That was scary. Hey! Go! Paul Wells. Sweetheart now. Wouldn't have guessed. Okay. Sam Chess there on the trombone. And John Kilso there on the trumpet. Dan Levinson on the clarinet. Yowza. And it was nice to get a full solo by our banjo player, Devin Cortan. There you go. Thank you, Devin. Wow. And our pianist, Brian Reeder, has been playing his piano very wonderfully and interpreting all these different styles, but occasionally he likes to step out of the box, so to speak, and play this little instrument that he has there called the celesta, the celesta, used in classical music and sometimes in jazz. And let's have a little sample of Brian playing some celeste. Yeah. Beautiful. Right. Yeah, the Nutcracker's right around the corner with Christmas. There you go. Nice. All right. And then, I guess the next soloist was yours truly. I hate talking about myself. I think I played one of the few 5/4 measures on Nobody's Sweetheart. Now, if you caught that, did you catch that? I hope not. We can fix it out in the mix. But I appreciate you, the one person that did applaud. And it goes under the whole subject of the more you drink, the better it sounds. And the more I drink, the better I think it sounds. Let me see. How sweet it is, as Jackie Gleason used to say. Back there playing that timpani and that wonderful drum solo, a fella that's been on the road with so many different groups, currently with Curtis Steigers occasionally, and that's Paul Wells back there on the drum. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, we have one more fella, and we like to talk about him because he's known for his violin work and his saxophone work, but he's worked with Garrison Keillor, Bob Dylan, Sir Paul McCartney, Commander Cody, and playing those instruments was I bet you mentioned, but here with us, Andy Stein plays the phono fiddle. Phono fiddle, yeah. Oh, he wears it nice too. In your phono fiddle bonnet, with all the frills upon it. Sorry, Reverend Burnett. Okay, so we always like to talk about this music here, and one of the things that you could do if you want to find out more about this music is check out this paper called The Syncopated Times. We just happen to have a whole bunch of free syncopated times back there, so if you'd like to find out who's playing this older jazz, ragtime, early swing, there's some great CD reviews in there. All kinds of neat things. We have an ad that sort of looks like that with our schedule, Mondays and Tuesdays, and the little broadcast, the live stream, so to speak. And these cards, I hope to give each and every one of you a card, because these are great to have around the house. If you want to jazz up, different rooms, you can look at it and say, hey, look at these guys. But also, who doesn't have crumbs on their kitchen table in the morning? Well, I don't know. You use these cards, you get the crumbs. Let's get some crumbs, let's go. Yeah, we got big crumbs in Brooklyn, right? And so check that out. But more importantly, you might want to buy Will Anderson's wonderful book. And if you buy the book, you're going to need a bookmark, because you can't read all that in one night, right? Right, here you go. We got it, all right. Oh, beautiful. Wait a minute, look out. Oh, look out now. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, how's he doing this? Wow. Wow. Any more? Is there any more? Check your sacks. Check your sacks. Oh, look at that. Wow. That's Will Anderson. Will Anderson. His next book is going to be about magic. Because I don't know how he made all those cards disappear or appear. And usually you fling one out to the audience. Are you going to do that tonight? There you go. Where's the whistle? Got the whistle? Wait a minute. Hold on. We're waiting. It's okay. We're cleaning first. There you go. Nice. Okay. It was a little delayed, but that's the go. Well, here we are, Mondays and Tuesdays. So I'm looking out there and I wonder, maybe somebody has got a request out there, an old-time tune. Going to town. Going to town. Okay, request time is over. Okay, is that in the book or is that a pull in the back? I'm sorry. It's a handout. Is it a handout? Okay. You talk amongst yourselves there. What's your final offer? Okay. Well, since you asked for it, Going to Town. This is something that we have on one of our CDs, and or not CDs, LP. This was recorded by the great Louis Russell back in 1931, and they couldn't get their regular singer, so they got a singer that showed up on a lot of the recording session. His name was Chick Bullocks. Anyway, it's a lot of the same notes. Here's some saxophone parts. Good. Yeah. Nice. All right. Here's my part, and here is the drums, and we gotta go out there. I'm glad you asked for this one, because good. Going to Town on the Victor label. They had Henry Rhode Allen in the band, and Pops Foster on the bass, and J.C. Higginbottom, and all those great guys. All right. Are you guys ready? Yep. I guess so. 1, 2, 1, 2. All you hoofers, grab your shoes, chase away those doggone blues. Yes sir, cause we're going to town. Listen to me and don't lag, there's a hot time in the bag. Yes sir, cause we're going to town. Young folks ought to gather round, there's nothing to learn. Better turn your dampers down, make sure your feet don't burn. Hurry up, no time to wait, everybody syncopate. Yes sir, cause you're going to town. John Kelso there on the trumpet, and all the reed work there, Will Anderson, and wonderful trombone solo there by Sam Chess. There you go. All right, here, hand that one back in. When are we going to play that one again?
Later tonight.
All right. Later tonight. Okay, good. Well, let's see. We got a couple more tunes before we have to take a break, and it's one of those nights, you know. So let's do a tune that's written by the great James P. Johnson. James P. Johnson was the dean of Harlem stride pianists. All the pianists in the teens and the 20s would go up and listen to him. He played these long jobs. I read about some of these people that started jobs something like 8 in the evening and go to 4 or 5 in the morning, and they would play continuously, sometimes a little break, you know, for whatever, and they'd stay up so late that they would, you know, have breakfast in the morning, and he was another fellow that had a lot of, you know, health problems because of just trying to keep up the pace of those things. But James P. Johnson wrote one of the most, you know, widely known 1920s tune called the Charleston. Charleston, Charleston, and of course, If I Could Be With You an Hour Tonight, and Old Fashioned Love. But here's one that the Chick Webb Band played called Go Harlem. 1, 2, 1, 2. But we have one more number for you. We want to thank you so much for coming tonight. Birdland's world's greatest jazz nightclub. If you like what you heard tonight, please write a nice review on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Yelp. Yeah, Yelp. I haven't done any help on Yelp, but we want to thank you for supporting live music. Try to bring some young people to music venues, whether it's a parade or a cabaret or a Broadway show. Young folks got to learn about live music. Here's a tune that Jimmy Lunsford used to either open his set or close it, so we're going to use it to close it. It's called Rhythm Is Our Business. A nice Mark Lopin transcription. 1, 2, 1, 2. Rhythm is our business, rhythm is what we sell. Rhythm is our business, and business sure as well. Now if you're feeling blue, rhythm is what you need. If you got rhythm, you're bound to succeed. Rhythm is our business, business sure as well. He's the drummer man in the band. Paul Wells is the drummer man in the band. When he does tricks with those sticks, the boys in the band play hot licks. He plays saxophone in the band. Mark Lopin blows that saxophone in the band. When he goes up and down that scale, man, oh man, you gotta hear him wail. Mark Lopin, I play the bass in the band. I try to play the bass in the band. When I picks on those strings, happiness to you I bring. He plays trumpet in the band. Joe Bogle plays that trumpet in the band. He's the guy that hits them high, makes you think you're in the sky. Business.
Going on in the upper level, the Birdland Big Band is here with us. If you'd like to stay over, you can see your host up at the front.